I was considering just streaming this for one day, possibly, but I don't know. I personally find the category kind of repetitive and, well, not repetitive. I mean, obviously, any speedrun thing is going to be repetitive. That's the nature of the beast. Um, However, since it's so short and it just required a lot more. Um, it, re- it was requiring of a lot more intensive attention, and also was just aggravating at the same time. And so I didn't really think, for the most part, people would want to see all of that. I figured just in getting one extremely solid run and then kind of explaining or reviewing it a little bit would get the point across that all of that would go into anyways. So, the as I said, my headphones they took another slight damaging earlier, as far as I can tell, and I did not have them on, so there's gonna be a few like odd audio glitches with this recording. Cause see, I was just playing for several hours at a time. I wasn't using the timer, so I could just kind of fire out runs faster. I was focused on like trying to get um, my runs consistently to around 15 minutes, and then from there, you have to be very what's the word? Oh my god. Starts with okay, ornery. Had to be very ornery about my movement. Um, to kind of like squeeze out those minimal time saves. There are a few slight route changes I made. Some of them I'm not even entirely sure if they save time, because even though my previous record was my second run, it actually was really solid with everything considering. However, I do believe this is still improvable, theoretically, just like the like everything that has to come together within just these like 15 minutes is insane to make sub 15:30 happen. I do think it's probably doable. I would say people have been asking me if like sub 15 is possible, and I feel like that kind of comes from like, I don't know. Uh, I mean, that's kind of come from some of the just newer or less experienced players who have joined Ratatouille recently and don't maybe know entirely how much room there is to work with. Oh yeah, Sandy, I saw that. I thought I messaged you on Discord about that. Yeah, you said you got rid of the Boston Basher. Oh shoot. See, that actually would be kind of a neat idea if that did that. You going to bed? Oh, thanks, Mom. Good night. I do not think. I think we need, like, some other major skip before we can even consider, like, sub 15 possible. Honestly, I think. You swear it used to? I think it might have in its original incarnation. I'm not sure. Anyways, I've been kind of blabbering a bit here. I need to get into the actual run. So there's gonna be a little bit of that fuzzy shit in the background, and also for some reason Remy's you gotta look for burning players. Just get Tockles in game with you. degreaser, extinguisher, and sun on a stick combo. Or go to medieval mode. Here's something I've wanted here. since you've already got me distracted, a really stupid idea I want to do is go to medieval mode, get a pyro with the volcano fragment, and a scout with the sun on a stick, and fucking combo them. Oh my god. I mean, it's meant to be, obviously. It'd be really hard to pull off, but it would be fun, and therefore worth it. As you can see, I didn't even care about, like, naming the files necessarily. But just to see, like, the actual settings I used, medium difficulty, and then I bumped down the camera sensitivity. Remy's, like, voice lines are gonna sound like they echoed for some reason. I don't know. I think some of the sound that was going through my headphone also went through my mic. But as far as the tutorial, I mean, most of the run has very minute mistakes. At the beginning, there's where I tripped over, but it got canceled out, so it only loses a little bit of time. Some of these turns on the apples could be tighter. I guess you could have jumped. I could have jumped for those pots earlier. Oh, okay. I did the same thing. I thought that was the run. It's this one. Because it looks like the volcano. Okay. Yeah, they're easy to get mixed up because they're both shitty melees that have to deal with burning players. Whether it's initiating the burn or doing damage with the burn. Although okay, so I did get to just run over that normally. Then probably just turning maybe could have slightly been improved, I don't know. Also, I did find out and prove, I have a couple recordings of me getting it. It is possible to skip over the double jump tutorial there, as Mopsy pointed out to me. It's very precise though. You have to like jump like as early as you can to the pots, and almost always will require that you ledge grab, so it may not even be worth it to begin with. I stopped running over that book. I started, since like tripping and very minor things like that add up very quickly in this, I decided it was better to just lose a few frames to walk over it initially and then just sprint the rest, as opposed to risking jumping or risking bonking over it. Same with that little pillar there. Often you get like this slow animation where Remy turns around there, but I didn't get it. So there's one of the main route changes I made. I initiated I made use of the death warp there. I was gonna say something about instating, I don't know, a much more descriptive word. And the reason for that was because I realized spacing out my jumps was actually probably wasting more time than avoiding the need for cheese. And even though there is the cutscene, you have to, I mean, it's not nearly as consequential on PC because of loads. So I just death warp, and then I have 3 health. I don't need to pick up cheese, because unless you like, if you space out your jumps at all or aren't at the very top, you not only have to do an additional set of double jumps to get that apple, but you also have to collect a piece of cheese to survive the chicken there. I also, let's see, I had to do an additional double jump, um, somewhere around the, yeah, going up from the couch to the window that leads you to the rope section. I had a bonk on that one pipe and had another double jump somewhere in there that got mashed out. So that's, see, all these little time saves, I don't actually know entirely what they add up to. I just know that they affect the time. I don't know in what amounts, I just know it's very minimal. I generally have just always rounded it up to, say, a second. Oh, yeah. I also accidentally collect cheese there, kinda destroying part of the purpose of the route. Gosh. So there's maybe another second or two that could come out of that. I say I rounded up because now looking at them, it might be more like half of a second for each. But I'm not sure. Now for Destiny River, the main problem with this was that, or main thing that happened with me during runs is that just because it was kind of inevitable, there would be a fallen tree that when I'd try to single jump it, I'd kind of like, I'd clip it a bit or just jump too early or too late, and that would cause Remy to kind of pull back. Or when going down one of these slides, if you jump too early, like I did on the first one, you'll kind of get like bumped up really far airborne. And that, the thing is, that slide is particularly difficult to get any to avoid that with, because you have to make a sharp angle to jump onto it. I still need to see maybe what I want to do with that one. With that one log back there, you almost always are pushed back. You almost always are pushed back. And like Remy leans back with his paddle. But if you let go of all the controls, you can sometimes just be able to start paddling again, and so I was able to just do that and jump onto there. So overall, Destiny River was pretty sweet. There's technically another branch, or another fallen tree that I could have single jumped, but it comes with another fallen one immediately after, so it's extremely rare and difficult to be able to get that, but there's another, maybe a second there. I initiated the jump onto that a little bit late, but still got the running jump as opposed to the standing jump. Got the charge cancel. Paris Streets. This beginning part can be kind of luck whether or not you bonk over that one wire. I'd also occasionally have times where the camera would just flick back. I mashed out a double jump there because I fell off. I routed in running over the top pipe because I realized you can just walk over that center pipe, and if you're away from the wall, there's only a few places where you can bonk on the pipe, and luckily I didn't have any bonks there. The main problem is just that turn, and as you saw there, it forced out another double jump. I do double jumps there as well, and missed that. Those aren't necessary. I missed that jump, which obviously was another second or something. You also don't need to jump over that little ridge from the pipe to the wood planks. I could have just walked that. So a few mistakes at the end there. I've fucked up one of the minigame things, apparently. Yeah, most classes are hard to do on Viaduct because there's just so few resources in health and ammo packs. It's kinda surprising how it manages to work as a competitive map. I bonked here, but I got this second try, or third? And enter before the 50-minute mark, or 8-minute mark, rip. towards for 750. I didn't know I had the bonk there. I tried really hard to cut the corner. I routed in going around that way because I realized getting caught by Skinner doesn't matter that much because it does warp you a bit forward. It's only a few seconds as opposed to having to go around the entire other way. You can just clear that in a double jump and then a single jump, but I had to do a double jump there. It's kind of difficult to deal with the lobsters because how that and when they notice you is also a bit random. But generally, if you're outside of the perimeter of the table, they won't notice you, so I tend to like curve around. I didn't go for the door frame thing in here. I went for it in one of my other runs where I had lost a bit of time, and it pushed me off. Also, you can just walk to the left and flip that. I did have a little bit of a kind of like turn in place moment there, but oh well. I think, was there an issue? Okay, yeah, I accidentally mashed out a jump at the beginning here. And okay. I wasn't sure if that hit initially, because there were a few runs where like one of them missed by a slight bit. I mashed out a double jump there. As you can tell, my early game became I became much more just... There was just much more acuity and, I don't know, just precision in the performance for those, as opposed to this. Although this is still pretty good. I still say you pretty much have to bait that shrimp out, because if you just go out this way, then the shrimp will run right to where the bomb is, and then you're fucked, because you only have one path you can go if you're only doing the one bomb strat. So you could go around slightly longer way to avoid being in the shrimp's vicinity. Oh my god, I fell off the ball here. Damn. So the spiders thing was a huge section that I realized needed improvement, and that is because, yeah, there I didn't even need to kill that spider. So the thing with the spider section is that, I mean, what you want to do is just leave a single spider on, ideally you leave a single spider on each of these thin pathways, and then just spin past them with the spoon. And of course you only do it with one time going through the ball, so that, and usually that last spider will be one that's like left in the cracks. Oh, I got this second try, that was dumb. Like, that's pressed right up against the wall and hard to get. And that lets you not waste time. Oh yeah, I got this second try as well. But this went pretty smoothly, except for a slow turn there. You don't have to interrupt yourself on the ball as much, and that gives the other spiders immediately after less time to react and move before you get up there. Although they might not even move until you get into that one like column of wood planks path. So I may be wrong, but regardless, you'd still kind of just be able to ride through that much faster. Those switches, I realize you can move right when you switch the switches, so I use that tactic a lot, and I got really good luck, so that was nice. Same with, okay, the first two dishes I remember were very good. You gonna send me a copy pasta on Discord? Alright, sounds good. People text to speech doesn't work in DMs. I'll read it later though. And yeah, making the other team quit on Viaduct is nice. There was a lot of switching I ended up having to do for this last dish, but you know, I do want to see eventually even incorporating the like boost forward with the ball into runs. That whole spider section. Like, you want them all to be, like, near the center so that you can just go over them all in one go without really even having to thinking much of it. If you just have the ball kind of centered down the path, which, unless you're about to fall off or are really hugging the side, you're going to, then that should kill most of them. And just do that for each section. And that saves so much time from having to like just go carefully over each crevice to kill every spider. So unfortunately I did end up going back and killing an additional spider or two that I didn't need to. Like, I'm not saying you should make it a point to leave one at each. Like, if you kill all of them in a section, it's not run over at anything. But if there is just one that's really out of the way like that, you shouldn't go for it, is my point. Maybe if I had sound on, I would have not made that mistake. I stopped running there so I wouldn't bonk into the vase. I went around that one red tray instead of double jumping it. I think I made every single jump for this. The only mistake I remember in Chase is touching... I actually ended up touching a... I guess they're like... I always think they're like jelly or some sauce or something. Yeah, okay, I forced out double jumps there. I almost died there. Okay, no. Okay, that was the only mistake. There was another one where I actually hit that red sauce there somehow. And there you go. 1535. I do think... Shit. I do think if this category ever gets as competitive as I'm, like, trying to force it to a bit here, we're probably going to need fucking milliseconds. Like, no joke. Like, even with even with no levels early, I could see that eventually happening. I mean, it's obviously not foreign to other speedruns of equal or greater length. I just think up to this point there hasn't been a necessity to, because the competition isn't really there. But I believe as the gap narrows between myself and the other runners, which I hope to help decrease myself with things like this review and that tutorial I made, which I might still cut down a bit. But I feel like with things like that, depending on how much people begin to really go insane in their contributions with this game and dedication and whatnot, I think we're probably going to need milliseconds. I won't submit milliseconds, though, for this run. This is almost a 15-second improvement from the previous record. That being said, with those various miniature time saves I pointed out, in fact, there were like one or two miniature mistakes in every level, I think. I mean, there were two double jumps I didn't need, and collecting cheese in the tutorial. there was that one slide that I entered poorly in the Destiny River. There was there were a couple forced out double jumps in Paris streets. I messed up I messed up one of the mini games in soupy ass. Ah! Get some of that soupy ass, you know what I'm saying. Then I bonked on I bonked heading into deserted and went in the pot instead of around, which you'd rather just go around because you can sprint. Well, actually, I don't know. Either's fine, I guess. But ended up getting third try. Would have preferred second, I think. I did have a run where I got it first try, but then I severely messed up the dishes, and I got one of the shrimp noticed me earlier, like when I had just started my jump, because sometimes they'll just be looking over at that one side, and even though you're off the table or whatnot, over half of their meter is filled, and then they snipe you off the table. That obviously wastes a lot of time. That happened a lot. I think even just the implementation, that was the word I was going to use earlier instead of instated. Okay. Even with just the implementation of the door frame fuckery jump that everyone hates, from that's viewable in Super Skanks PB. I'd say that probably saves 5 seconds. I do think I would agree with people that it saves a fairly sizable amount of time. I don't know if it's as much as people maybe think it is, because there is like extra travel. Yeah, you get to run it, but like the whole setup and everything for it, and obviously it's only worth it if you can get it first try, which makes it that much riskier and difficult of a trick. And as I said, I had runs where I just kind of got pushed off the side of it. I've only actually gotten the trick like once or twice in practice. Still don't really understand that. It's extremely precise. Tockles even joked it was frame perfect, which I don't know. It might not be that far from it. Regardless, it's really difficult. But that can certainly push this time lower. Let's see, what were my other mistakes? I did an additional double jump for the dishes. I had a slow turn going towards the vacuum. There was the spiders I mentioned that can save a few seconds. I got the can thing and the jump to the Gusto book both second try. And that one dish, I had 2 jumps messed up on the... I had to do 2 double jumps on the chase scene. I'm kind of surprised I still managed to save that, because I was so close to just falling and dying there. So I'm surprised this run even exists. If this didn't happen, I'd probably still play another 2 days before I had a time this good, to be honest. Let's see. Oh yeah, and that one dish, in the like salad making mini game was also pretty slow, just because of luck, but overall, still fantastic. Anyways, I hope this has been enlightening a bit as far as where any percent kind of sits and is heading as a category. Kind of some of these more focus on more minute things, I think, in regards to the record is going to be huge, in my opinion and belief. And Capri Dog, I hope it makes up for thinking the record was not that well optimized. I might come back for a sub 1530, but I'm definitely taking a break for a while. I have quite a few other things I want to do on the channel and speed games to cover. So anyways, that was Ratatouille in 15 minutes and 35 seconds. Fucking dank as hell. Alright, so I'm